Hey guys, today's video is all about the books that I plan on reading in the month of September. Ashley's video came out on Monday, so if you haven't seen it yet, go ahead and check that out. Danielle's video comes out on Friday, so stay tuned for that. And at the end of the week, you'll see what all three of us plan on reading for the month of September. This month my TBR is going to be a lot smaller than you've seen so far, partially because I plan on being busy a lot this month, but more because I'm definitely a mood reader and I've been in a bit of a reading slump, so I can't promise I'll get that much read this month. I'm hoping that I'm on my way out of the reading slump, but we'll see where the month takes us. The first book that I plan on reading in the month of September is our book club book of the month, and that is Tress of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson. As it's Ash's birthday month, she got to choose what book we're reading, and this is the one that she chose. This book follows Tress as her quiet life on her island home in the middle of an emerald green ocean becomes anything but that, quiet or her home. She absolutely loved listening to the stories her friend Charlie told her, but when his father takes him away from the island to find a bride, Tress must stow away on a ship to try and rescue him from disaster. This is book one in Brandon Sanderson's Secret Project collection. As someone who's only read one Brandon Sanderson book so far, video on this coming out as shortly as I can make it, I had to do a little investigating into the series to learn what was up. If I'm understanding things correctly, the Secret Project series is a collection of standalone novels set deep in the timeline of the Cosmere. For those of you not in the know, the Cosmere is a universe that Sanderson has created for most, if not all, of his fantasy novels to take place in. Think Mistborn and the Stormlight Archives. He's likened it to the MCU for you movie buffs, where each book or series takes place on a different fantasy planet instead of following a different superhero. As the stories in the Secret Project collection are all standalone novels, they can be read in any order and have little or no bearing on the other works in his collection in this world. Oh, I also have it on good authority that this one, the Frugal Wizard's Handbook for Surviving Medieval England, is the only one out of the four in this collection series that does not take place in the Cosmere. It is completely separate, so keep that in mind if you do end up picking this one up. Going deeper into this rabbit hole, it is my belief that Brandon Sanderson wrote this series or this collection of novels during COVID for him and his wife when they were in quarantine. In 2022, a Kickstarter campaign was run to bring these books out into the world instead of going the normal publishing route. They were released throughout 2023, I believe, and they all came to fruition thanks to that Kickstarter campaign. While I could probably say a lot more about this book, I'll leave you with this. I am very excited to read this story. I accidentally started this book in August because I wanted to read that one before tackling this one, even though knowing they were standalone novels. I was like, well, maybe they connect a little bit more. And that was before I did research into all of this stuff. So now I know it's fine that I didn't. But Ashley lovingly reminded me that this was the September book club book, so I quickly stopped. I didn't get too far into it, so I haven't spoiled that much for myself, but I would much rather read this book with my friends, and we'll be reading it throughout the month all together. The second book that I'm going to talk about is Virals by Kathy Reichs. If you saw my August wrap-up video, you know that I was trying to finish this by the end of August and it did not happen, so I plan on finishing it very quickly in the beginning of September. This book follows Tori Brennan, the grandniece of world-famous forensic anthropologist Temperance Brennan, and her friends as they rescue a stray wolf dog pup from a top-secret lab on the Loggerhead Island Research Institute. This group of teenagers each have a parent working at the institute, so they have an insider's knowledge of the grounds. What they don't expect is for the pup they've saved to expose them to a strain of canine parvovirus that's infectious to humans. While this is technically a reread for me, it was so many years ago that I read this book and not the rest of the series that I kind of forgot what happened in this. So for me, it's kind of like reading it for the first time again. Like the shocks are still shocking as much as they can be. And I am really enjoying this reread so far. I will absolutely be continuing on with this series after this book. I have it on this shelf, but like the back row that you can't see, just here. So I am very much so looking forward to reading this series for the first time. The first book is a reread, but the rest of them are for the first time. The next book that I'm going to be talking about is Lord of Embers by C.N. Crawford. This is the second book in the Demon Queen Trials series. I finished the first one at the end of August after my wrap-up video was finished, so that book was not included in that one, but I'm not going to count it in this video because I have technically finished it before September started. The first book, City of Thorns, follows Rowan as she fights her way into the City of Thorns, the demon city attached to her human one. Rowan's sole purpose for going into the City of Thorns, a place where the demons would have every right to kill her if they found her, is to avenge her mother's murder. Not knowing who killed her mother, aside from the fact that it was a demon, Rowan must prove to the Lord of Chaos that she's not the succubus he claims her to be. But in order to do so, she must trick the rest of the demons into thinking she is the succubus, and that she's a force to be reckoned with. The second book, Lord of Embers, follows Rowan once again. After the events in the first book, Rowan is even more convinced that she's doing the right thing by being in the City of Thorns. Things might have taken a darker twist than she expected, but Rowan will do everything in her power to defend her living loved ones and to avenge those that have fallen. Of course, after reading the first and second books, I plan on reading the third book in this series, which is Garden of Serpents by C.N. Crawford. In the thrilling finale of the trilogy, Rowan must once again prove herself worthy of everything she's fighting for. Her loved ones, a title she covets, and even her own life. Now her quest to protect people has expanded to everyone in the human race. Yes, even those humans that might have tried to kill her a time or two. To be honest, this series is a reread for me. Coming out of what is a pretty serious, for me, reading slump, I needed something a little easier, something that didn't take a lot of my mental bandwidth to try to parse out the twists and turns. So I turned to this series, which I have read once before. I also enjoy the narration of the audiobook, which is great. So this has been my commuter series for the last week or so. Well, less than that, considering I finished the first one at the end of August. But I am enjoying my time back in this world. They are definitely an easier read than some of the things I gravitate towards, but especially when I'm dealing with a pretty severe reading slump, I do need those easier reads to remind me that yeah, okay, everything doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be a slog. You don't have to read 1,000 pages a day or a week or whatever. You can just sit back and relax and enjoy the very linear plot or very obvious plot. Sometimes those are the best kind of reads for when I'm getting out of a reading slump. Next up, we have From Bad to Cursed by Lana Harper. This is book 2 in the Witches of Thistle Grove series. This follows the events from our August book club book, Payback's a Witch. As I've mentioned many times before, I held off on continuing on with the series until Ashley and now Danielle had read this book. I have had this book since shortly after it came out because I did really want to continue on in this series, but I did not want to read on until I had spoken to Ashley about the events in this book. It took years, but she has finally read it for me and I am very excited. As I want to go into this blind, I am going to be inserting my breakdown of Payback's a Witch from the August wrap-up, so you have a little bit more of an understanding about what this series entails or how it starts. The final book that I finished in the month of August was our August book club book, and that is Payback's a Witch by Lana Harper. As you can tell, my copy has seen quite a bit of love and damage and abuse, which is not normal for Tricia books. I read this the first time shortly after it came out, and then because I'm awful, I lost this book apparently under the driver's seat of my car. So this book has seen some love and damage and has gone many a mile with me without me knowing it. So I am so sorry, book, for abusing you. But I really do love this book. As it was my birthday month, I got to pick the book. While generally we try to pick books that all three of us have not read, I've been trying to get Ashley to read this book for literal years, like since I read it for the first time. While she did not enjoy it as much as I thought she would, Danielle did enjoy this book as much as I hoped she would be. Because the other two already talked about this book, I'm not going to go super in depth into what this book is. I will say that it follows Emmy Harlow as she returns home to Thistle Grove to be arbiter in the town's magical election that takes place every 50 years. While 4 families founded the town, the Harlows have always acted as arbiter, while the other families, the Blackmores, Thornes, and Avramovs, compete to be the next magical mayor. Add in the fact that the Blackmores have won almost every gauntlet since the founding of the town, and the current Blackmore heir has screwed over the other 3 founding families. What do we get? We get the Harlows, the Thornes, and the Avramovs, or at least their heirs, teaming up together to ensure that the Blackmore heir does not win the gauntlet. This story gave me everything I could have asked for. It has a diverse cast, an intriguing premise, and an unconventional romance. It's got a plotline with twists and turns galore. Sure, those twists and turns may have been predictable, but it's the execution that got to me. One of the comparisons to this story I've read and absolutely adored is how this book gives off the same kind of vibes as Halloween Town. I grew up on those movies. I will still happily watch them every Halloween without fail. Finding a read with the same kind of vibe was like drifting into a favorite world again, just slightly different. It's got the same magical safe haven vibes, the same wonder and mystery when it comes to the magic of the world. It's a hidden magical town, but instead of being in an alternate dimension, it's hidden in plain sight. I really like the way the town of Thistlegrove is introduced to the reader throughout the story. While we first get a sense of this town as one that's teeming with magic in the air if you know what to look for, there's so much more to it than that. Each of the founding families brings something different to the town, a different aspect of magic and intrigue into the world. If you're looking for a cozy romance in a witchy small town, you might want to try pick this read up. If you're not into revenge plots or magical tournaments, I've seen comparisons between this story and the Triwizard Tournament in Hogwarts, though I don't know if I agree with that. This story might not be for you. Overall, I really enjoy this book. I've been holding off on reading on in the series until I could get the girls to read this. And now that I have, you'd better believe I'm going to be reading books 2, 3, and 4 of this series within September. I, of course, gave this 5 stars. My plan for this series continues on as far as possible. So after I read book 2, I plan on picking up book 3, Back in a Spell by Lana Harper, and book 4, In Charm's Way. I'm really hoping that I love these books as much as I really loved Payback's a Witch. I am absolutely thrilled that I was able to find books 3 and 4 in the recent book outlet splurge that Danielle and I did. And of course, I've had book 2 for years now. So I will absolutely be getting to as much of this series as I possibly can this month. As I mentioned at the top of this video, this TBR is going to be a lot shorter than you've seen from me thus far. Heavily influenced by the fact that I have been in such a severe reading slump. As such, my final book that I'm going to be talking about is Alchemy and a Cup of Tea by Rebecca Thorne. This is book 4 in the Tomes and Tea series. I have been absolutely obsessed with this series. If this is not your first video, I'm sure you've gathered that by now. I absolutely love this series. If you watched my August wrap-up video, you know that I finished the third book, See You at the Altar, about 2 days before book 4, Alchemy and a Cup of Tea, was released. You had better believe that I was absolutely ecstatic to open this book up from my parents when I met them for my family birthday celebrations. So I will absolutely be striving to pick this book up in the month of September. Following the events that occur in See You at the Altar, Raina and Chianti aren't able to live their newlywed bliss like they'd hope. Raina finds herself kidnapped by a group of radical alchemists, and their hometown of Tawny needs their help possibly more than ever. But what if the solution is to leave Tawny, their new lives, and their new friends forever? I am so excited to read this book. Like, I don't know how I can get that across to you. Like, these people are amazing. They feel so real to me from book 1. Like, so good. Chianti and Raina have quickly become one of my favorite couples of all time. I love the witty banter. I love the way they interact with each other, the way they show they love each other, the open lines of communication, the fact that they're okay just existing together and saying, hey, I'm not okay, but I need some time. And then they give it to each other. They don't like, no, you're upset. Talk about it right now. You need to tell me what's wrong, and we're going to get over it right now. These two let themselves breathe. They let themselves exist and come to terms with what they're actually feeling. And like, the communication is just amazing. One of my least favorite tropes of all time is miscommunication or failure to communicate even the most basic things. And these girls, these women, do not have that problem. I love them for it. It doesn't hurt that all of these books have some of the most amazing end paper artwork that I have ever seen. They are all absolutely gorgeous. I only have 2 in front of me right now, but I love all 4 of them. They are amazing. Well, that is it for me. A very tiny TBR, but as I'm sure you're aware by now, I will be reading more books than that this month. I'm just not going to pigeonhole myself into any specific routes. I am at the point where if I see a book and I want to pick it up, that's when I'm going to do it. Who knows? Maybe I'm going to want to pick up one of my newest purchases. Maybe I need some time before I pick those up. Maybe I pull an old favorite and read that. The month will show us where it goes. So thank you for watching. I'd love to know what you plan on reading this month. If you've read any of the books that I plan on reading, if you're going to read any of the books I plan on reading, or just what you like about books. Really anything you want to talk about, I'm here to listen. And like I mentioned, Ashley's video came out on Monday. Danielle's video is coming out on Friday. And thank you as always for spending some time with us. Bye!